So I'm an e-commerce brand, Neat. We're doing over $150,000 per month, and email is one of the most profitable channels we run. We get them with ads, but we make money with email. But here's the crazy thing. Claude Cowork is basically our email marketing department. It runs all of the flows for us. It runs our ongoing email newsletters that we send. It does the copywriting, it does the design, and it does the analysis. It tells me what's working, what's not working, what to test, what segments to go after, and it manages our dashboard. So in this video, I want to show you exactly what works for us to run email with one person and one Claude Cowork account, so you can steal it and basically do it for your own brand. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the 3 email flows we have running on autopilot. Whenever we're doing email, whether it's our brand or with the client, I'm always starting with flows, because email flows are amazing because they compound, right? You set them once and they can really start to print money for you if done right. And what's nice is with Claude, these can get set up on autopilot and automate on autopilot, where I'm not having to be in and out of it every single day. And for us, the flows we're starting with for Neat are pretty simple. They're the ones that make the most money. And it's the welcome flow, it's the abandonment flow, and it's a very specific campaign flow we call the BOGO flow, which is the buy one, get one offer campaign. And that's for people that we're trying to activate with this offer, or after they activate, how we get them to reactivate within 30 to 45 days. And together, they cover basically 3 moments in the buyer's journey where someone is most likely to spend money. And if they do this, we're able to have a system that manages this around the clock, whether I'm working or not. And these are the most crucial flows that make money for us. And right now, we're pushing Neat to be not as dependent on paid acquisition, where those people we worked really hard to acquire on ads, we're now reactivating them with email. So right now, overall percent of revenue for Neat, it was around 15 to 20% from email. We're now pushing to 30-35%. And of our email revenue, right now, almost half of it is from these flows. And as we acquire more emails within Klaviyo, that number should be going up, where the flows are generating a significant part of our email revenue. Okay, let's talk about these actual flows. The way I build each one inside Claude starts with a single brief. And the brief covers, who the subscriber is, where they're at in the buying journey, what the product does, and what I want them to do at the end of the sequence. Essentially, what's the goal of this email flow, from education to eventually converting them. So from there, Claude Cowork writes the full sequence, including subject lines, preview text, email body copy, guidance for what images to put in there, and call to actions. So let me pull up an example of the brief for you to check out. So here's the example of the brief for the welcome series, right? And again, it's already in the project, so it has context on Neat email examples, the brand copy. This brief is specific to the flow that I care about, right? So I'm talking about, hey, I want this to be 5 email welcome series. Here's information on subscriber. Here's the goal of this. You know the tone, but just want to call out what I care about, what I want the email to look like. A mix of high design HTML files, also a plain text email you could sprinkle in there. And then I'm reinforcing, give me subject lines, preview text, and full body copy for each one. And so as we give this, it starts to give me a really nice output of what we want for each one. So I'm then able to take this, make tweaks, or I can pass it to a designer, or I could then say, hey, go into Figma and start to make these and design these. So let me show you with the Figma connector what we were able to do. Okay, now I'm in Figma, and what I'm showing here are some of the emails that we're able to design with Claude Cowork. But how did we pull this off? Well, it starts with a couple of foundational elements. First, within Claude Cowork, you need to make sure you're connected to a paid account for Figma. And it's as simple as going to connections, clicking Figma, and enabling it. The second thing is, within this page of Figma, we dropped in a lot of our raw assets as far as images, fonts, and colors. So it had something to work with. But then from there, it's pretty cool, because then Figma takes over and it starts to design based off of the brand, based off the images we have, based off of the guardrails, and incorporating that copy that you saw initially. And these were some of the final results. Yes, we would go in and tweak these and dial them in, but for the most part, these were 80 to 90% done before we even got in there. Okay, the other thing, let's say you don't want to design the email in Figma, you just want to do it within Klaviyo. Because Claude Cowork has a connection directly with Klaviyo, Klaviyo, it can do a really good job of making emails for you. But the key thing here is you want to make sure you have good media and brand assets in Klaviyo, and also you want to make sure you have good templates that it can work from. So what I want to show you real quick are some of the things we set up ahead of time with our templates. We could do this at scale. So what I'm showing here right now, if you go within Klaviyo and you're in the template section, these are lots of templates that it can start to leverage and reference when making emails for you. Another thing is if you have your product catalog uploaded, it can then pull in products directly into your email, and you can have different images and video assets that it can also reference. This is key because what you can do is bypass Figma and just say, hey, please make an email, leverage the existing assets, leverage the templates, and create something. This is one that we were able to make directly from Claude by using existing templates, and we're like, hey, make a fun St. Patrick's Day themed email for us. And it's pretty dang good. So that's a little bit on how we made the copy and the design, and then you can either take those into Klaviyo manually in an automated fashion. But the main point is it helps with the strategy because each flow has a different job. The welcome series, that's usually the longest, 4 to 5 emails, because you're moving someone from learning about the brand, being intrigued by what you do, to actually wanting to make a buying decision. So you have to earn a lot of trust, and you need multiple touch points to pull that off. The abandonment sequence is much shorter, 2 to 3 emails, because the person has already shown that sign of high intent. We just need to get them over the finish line with urgency, scarcity, or maybe an incentive. And then the BOGO offer is very much about real-time activation because it could be an offer that's about to expire. So you want to make sure you nudge them or remind them that it exists. And then after they convert, there's no better time to go for a purchase than after their credit card is out. So it's really pushing for that reactivation. And real quick, if you run an e-commerce brand, but your revenue isn't where you'd like it to be, that's exactly the kind of problems that we like to work on at Growth Hit. So we've helped dozens of brands scale from 7 to 8 figures. And if that piques your interest, we'd love to chat with you. You could click the link below to book a strategy call with myself or with Emma, and we'd love to learn more about what you're doing. Let's get back to the video. So you've got the flows going, right? And once the flows are live and running, the next layer of the system are your ongoing campaign sends, your weekly newsletters, what's your monthly content calendar. So while the flows can handle the automated side, the campaigns are what really keep the list warm and can drive revenue for people who aren't in an active flow in any given moment, but want to do more with your brand. So rather than planning these week to week, being in reactive mode, I like to do batch planning with Claude, where I'm looking at not months, but quarters in one time to get ahead. So the session starts with giving Claude Cowork context on the entire month, meaning, okay, are we in a peak season or are we in a trough season? What are we going to launch? Do we have any new colors, any new styles, any new bundles, any marketing moments like a Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or a Memorial Day? That way we know what to prioritize and what are those money-making events. From that conversation, I get back a monthly campaign calendar where it's pitching me what to do, what days to send, because it knows our top revenue days, angles for each email so we're not being too repetitive, and different subject line frameworks based on what has worked and what has not worked. And let me show you what that looks like real quick. All right, so what I'm showing here is an example of a brief that I would do. And candidly, I don't type this out, I talk this out using the audio function. And so I'm basically saying, hey, I want to plan the next 3 months of content for Need. You know, we send 1 to 2 emails per week. Here's the upcoming launches we have. Here's the do not send dates, the days we want to hit on. Here's the email list or segments we want to make sure we activate. We also don't want to oversend. So giving it a lot of that context, right? And then we start to talk about different goals that we have, whether it's revenue generation, getting reviews, we need to push a specific product because we have too much inventory, and also really not trying to like oversaturate a list. And then the output can start to look something like this, where it's pitching us basically the day of the week to send something, who to send it to, when to push that product, the type of email to do, what the subject line should be based on what has worked well in the past. And this is great. I'm telling you, this gets better and better. I went from using it 70 to 80% of the time to using it 90 to 100% of the time. And then here's the other component that I love is it not only pitches it to me, once I approve approve it, we will manage our calendar within a Google Sheet. It will go in here through Claude Cowork's Chrome extension and start to update this for me, telling me the email topic, the category, the status of it. I also have it connected to Asana, so I can then make this a task if I need to assign it to a designer or to someone to actually QA it or to schedule it. And this has been one of the biggest unlocks. The other component that has been so nice is after you kind of architect the calendar for the month, you need to start writing email copy. It's at a point where we've trained it on previous emails and knows our brand voice and the constraints of what the character links should be for a subject line, for preview text, for the email body copy, that it'll start to write emails for us. I can quickly approve, and then I send it off to Figma or I send it off to Klaviyo to start to do design. And again, Claude's doing all of this. We still have someone on the brand team that's approving the final design, approving the copy, but what used to be a pretty cumbersome, painful process with lots of handoffs is now done with one person, and it no longer takes 2 to 4 days to do an email. It's taking 20 minutes tops to pull off an email, and that has been transformative. For example, today we've done 4 emails just to get ahead for the next 3 to 4 weeks with email. That way we're not in reactive mode and we can be proactive, and Claude has allowed us to do that. The other thing that's nice about Claude Cowork with Klaviyo is tracking performance. Unfortunately, a lot of marketers get very busy where the last data set you look at, it's not ads data, it's not website data, it's your email data. So if you can have that set up on autopilot, it just gives you the insights you need to run your growth program, but also to make sure email is dialed in. And for me, the metric I care about the most over subject lines, over click-through rate, it's revenue per email sent. That is the one I care about because it factors in revenue and it factors in efficiency. Yes, I still look at open rates and click-through rates. They give me some kind of leading indicators, but they don't tell me how the whole system is working as a growth driver. Revenue per email does that, and it's very simple. You get it by dividing total email revenue by the number of emails sent in a given time period. You could do this by segment, you could do this by flow, you could do this by newsletter, and it really helps you understand, is your email list getting more valuable or less valuable? And one thing that we have found when we first acquired Neat, the email list revenue per email was pretty low. People were dormant. They acquired them through giveaways. It wasn't a quality list. So we had to cleanse it. We had to prune it. And then as we bring people in to our CRM, we actually create a little bit of friction to make sure they opt in and want to be on the email list. And then we're ensuring that we're trying to maximize revenue per email. We'll even churn people if they go 6 months without showing any real signs of intent and engagement because we want to keep that list healthy. All right, so I want to show you a couple examples of how we use Claude to basically be our email data scientist that works in the background. So I'm going to show you 2 examples. The first is an ongoing brief we do for detailed email performance. Okay, so this happens when maybe we've done a full month's worth of sends where we really want to understand what worked, what didn't work this past month with email. And this is actually a scheduled skill that runs that gets sent before our Monday kind of marketing and ops meeting at the start of the month. So we're giving insights and data on flow performance, on campaign performance, overall revenue per email. And it's gotten so good because it connects with Klaviyo that we have it pull it automatically. And then the output from it, it's basically the insights you would get from a data scientist or from your strategic email manager, where it's talking about like the headline, revenue per email sent is up. The system is working, improving, but here's what we're seeing. There's a big gap with the welcome series. We still have good open rate, click-through rate, but the conversion rate's gone down from 2.1 as opposed to 3%. Let's do some more testing there. And it's giving a recommendation on, hey, email 4 used to be your moneymaker. It's gone down. Let's do some experiments there. And then it starts to give us some insights on our emails that we do on a weekly to bi-weekly basis. It's like, hey, your color launches are dramatically outperforming your bundle pushes. So really factor that in when you're coming to kind of revenue goals with email. And it's basically giving us recommendations on the upcoming content calendar on what to do and how to space out the new colors that we have. And again, you kind of get the point. It's giving some really nice tactical examples that make our marketing and ops meeting much more data driven because of these insights that we got from basically working within Claude for 90 seconds. Another way that we use Claude to be our data science team for email is with our ongoing weekly reports for email. So what we have is a scheduled report. So if you go over here within Claude Cowork, you can see schedule. We have weekly neat stats. And so it does these updates every Monday. They're sent Monday morning before our strategic team meeting. And we have some of those core email stats we care about, which is like, hey, how many new emails did we get? What's the revenue from flows from campaigns? And what's our email sign up rate? And how is it trending? And so this gets updated in two places. It goes to our Slack where it's slacked out as a message, and then it updates our Google Sheet that has an ongoing dashboard where we track week to week progress. So I'm able to get real insights at my fingertips on a weekly basis, and then that monthly strategic insight just by having these scheduled through Claude. And it has 10x our performance in email, and it just took us less than 30 minutes to get all of this set up. We're really reaping the benefits of that. And it's something that now that Cowork integrates with Klaviyo, it is just a no-brainer to invest the time in this infrastructure. Now, if you found the system valuable and you want us to take a look at your brand, find the biggest opportunities for growth, and implement a similar system with AI, then book a call. We'd love to learn more about your brand, about your working on. We can see if we can help or not. There's a link in the description where you can book a call and we can talk more. We'll take a look across your whole funnel, from top of the funnel with ads, SEO, to middle of the funnel with email, to bottom of the funnel with your website and your conversion rate, and really figure out what are the big levers that we could dial in that could be the unlock to help you scale, so you have a clear path to kind of go towards 8 figures. Again, you can book a call by clicking the link below. And if you want to see the full Claude Cowork system that we've been nerding out on, that we use to run ads and everything else in our business, then watch this next video. I think you'll really like it. It's one that we're probably the most fired up about.